Okay, good, good. So, hello, friends. Good morning. This is a wonderful, wonderful day as we have the honor of Talia leading us in prayer as she becomes bat mitzvah. And so, friends who are here for the first time, welcome. Friends for whom this is your congregational home, welcome. Those joining us online, we are so glad that you could be here with us this Shabbat. I am Rabbi Rachel Miller, here with Cantor Lauren Adesnik, and hopefully you all also have figured out by now that this is Talia, and that she's gonna be here with us throughout our service, okay? So underneath your seats, I would love if everybody would get out their red Siddur. This is our red prayer book. If it's not under your seat, I bet the seat next to you will have one. This is going to be what we will use to pray throughout our service. And if you open it up to any page, I just want to do a quick walkthrough, which is that you will see on one side of the page Hebrew text. In the middle, you will see what's called transliteration, the Hebrew text but in English letters. And finally, our English translation. And so this is a highly participatory service, which means we would love for you to join in with us, whether that's going to be when we hit some responsive readings together in English. We invite you to join with us in the italics. If at any point you feel so moved by the music that you want to do some la-las, some snaps, some claps, all of those are welcome. We feel that God hears all of our prayers in all the different ways that we go ahead and we pray. And so additionally, I would love for you to take a second, take out your phones, put them on silent, turn them off. We'd ask that they stay off and out of your hands throughout our service. I know we've got lots of kids here this morning, which is awesome. We love kids in the sanctuary. And if anybody needs to take a break, you can go back to our Shalom sanctuary, which you get to by exiting that door. And just coming around the corner, it's where those glass windows are. There is a light in there that can be turned on, and you can hear us here in the sanctuary right through a speaker that's going on in there. So if anybody needs a break, that's where you can head. I mentioned the exit there. There's also an exit over here. There's one behind you. And if we really needed it, there is one behind us here up on the bima as well. All right, so we got our, smartwatches too. Make sure those aren't buzzing you or bothering you. And we're just going to have a great time this morning, praying together, singing out in prayer. But we want to make sure that you know who you're praying with. So we would love for you to just take a few moments, turn to somebody that you did not drive here with, and wish them a Shabbat Shalom, a good morning, and we'll join back in with a little Hine Matov.
שבת גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים. שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב. יאללה לי, יאללה לי, יאללה לי, הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב. יאללה לי, יאללה לי, יאללה לי, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים. שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד.
And by the way, if you're ever wondering if it's a good time to clap or what pace you should be clapping at, little Mr. Ryan here is our #1 clapper on Sundays during religious school. So he's got us all, okay? So we can follow him. Yes. All right, friends, we are on page 5. And it is my honor to call for Judy Marks to come on up to our bima to present Talia with her talit. Now, this is what we call a ritual garment, something that Talia could not wear publicly until this day, that it is a rite of passage, if you will, for her to be able to lead the community in prayer while wearing a talit, an adult garment, something that she could not wear until this moment.
So, Talia, today's the day. We've been working very hard for a little while, sneaking in sessions, and I got to tell you, I'm going to miss them. As I told you, this talit was given to me by my dad years after my bat mitzvah, because I'm so old that girls didn't wear talit when we were bat mitzvah. And what I want you to know about this is when I said to him, I want to have a talis, he didn't say, girls don't do that. He didn't say, why? He said, let's go buy one together. So this talit I give to you today to wear for your first time, and very emotional. And together we'll say the blessing.
So first, go ahead and read that part.
I have to put glasses.
Take your time.
As this talit is draped around your shoulders, may the voices of the generations speak to you. May you know that there is a people, a rich heritage to which you belong, a sacred place from which you are connected to all who dwell on earth. As you are embraced by the folds of this talit, so too are you wrapped in the loving embrace of your family, community, and this holy congregation. May the simplest of garments be there, always be for you a symbol of God's abiding and sheltering presence. As you recite the blessing and wrap yourself in this talit, we proudly watch and celebrate with you as you accept your place in the chain of our tradition.
All right, Talia, so we're going to do our blessing. So right here.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tivanu lahitatef b'tzitzit.
Amen. So now you get wrapped in the folds of this talit. All right, go ahead and get your arms around. Perfect. All right, and so some moments you get to stay up here for just a minute longer, because some moments are exciting in the Jewish world and some moments are really exciting. And so when we get the chance to reach these milestones in time, we have a special prayer, our Shachianu, thanking God for reaching this very day.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kimanu v'higianu hazman hazeh. Amen.
Hugs. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. Friends, we're going to turn in our prayer books to page 6 as Talia prays for us her bat mitzvah prayer.
God, be with me on this occasion of my bat mitzvah. Help me make meaningful the covenant you now establish with me. Sustain me with a sense of holiness. Inspire in me a desire to be special. I do not ask that you make my life easy, resolve my problems, map out the directions of my life. I ask only that you strengthen within me the desire to mold and shape my life in accordance with your will. In this hour of my bat mitzvah, I invoke your blessings upon my parents and friends and all who have loved and cared for me and have brought me to this time of gladness. Give them joy and fulfillment in my growth and achievement. You who turn the hearts of children to their parents and the hearts of parents to their children.
Amen, amen.
Amen.
And so on page 7, Talia, we have the start of Nisim B'chol Yom, our prayer for daily miracles. And so when you have the chance to recite these words, every time you do it, even today on your bat mitzvah, I want you to always be mindful, of course, of what you're saying, but even just like what you're feeling in that moment, because these are the blessings that we say when we wake up, when it's time to conquer the day. And so every day there's something else going on in our lives. And so a different one of these blessings will stand out to you. And so each time you have the chance to say these words, I want you to hold on to that one piece, that one blessing that will carry you throughout your day. So we join together, page 7, Nisim B'chol Yom.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan l'sevivina lehavim ben yom uvein laila.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam pokeach ivrim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu basurim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam zokev kefufim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam rokah haaretz al hamayim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamahim mitzadei gavir.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam malbish harumim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hanoten layef koah.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamavir shanai me'enai utnuma me'afapai.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani b'tselem Elohim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani bat chorim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani Yisrael.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Ozer Yisrael b'gvura.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Otel Yisrael b'tifara.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah.
Amen.
As we turn to page 13, this is our first chance to pray responsively as a congregation. And in doing so, just a reminder that the energy that you guys give up here to Talia then gives that energy back down to you. And the energy goes back and forth so that we have this amazing prayerful atmosphere together. And all the more so to say this, Talia, at this particular prayer, because it's about welcoming. It's about bringing in people who are hungry. It's about bringing in just the regular person off the street, and to have this synagogue be that welcoming place. And you know what makes it really welcoming, Talia, is people like you, who are there to, yeah, that smile, exactly, who are there to smile when somebody comes in the door, who are there to say, hey, do you want to come sit with me? I have no idea who you are, but you seem like a nice person. That we need more of that in our synagogue, always. Even if we're really good at it, it can always be better. And so, Talia, you are a part of bringing that amazing, welcoming energy to our community. So, friends, we'll pray responsively with Talia, page 13.
May the door of the synagogue be wide enough to receive all who hunger for love, all who are lonely for fellowship.
May it welcome all who have cares to unburden, thanks to express, hopes to nurture.
May the door of the synagogue be narrow enough to shut out pettiness and pride.
May its threshold be no stumbling block to young or straying feet.
May it be too high to admit indifference, selfishness, and harshness.
May this synagogue be, for all who enter, the doorway to a richer and more meaningful life. On page 15, we rise for our call to worship, the Baruch Hu.
המבורך, המבורך, לעולם ועד.
And on this same page, Talia, we have our prayer, Yotzer Or, a prayer about creation, and it's a reminder to us, Talia, that we're co-creators, meaning that through that little spark of the divine that is in each of us, that through everything that we do, we become a co-creator with God. That God spoke the world into being, it says in Bereshit, and so too do we have the power through our words to create. And with great power comes great responsibility. And so words have power, words have meaning, and so the words that we choose to bring to our world, they matter and they have an impact. And so the more energy we can put into those positive words like you already do for us and model for us, the better and the more sacred our community gets to be. So we'll join you in Yotzer Or, page 15.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Yotzer or uvrei hoshech, osei shalom uvrei et hakol. Ha'ma'ir la'aretz v'ladarim, alecha barachamim, uftuvo mechadesh, b'chol yom tamid ma'aseh v'reishit. Ma rabu ma'aseh Adonai, kulam b'chochma asita, mal'a ha'aretz kinyanecha. Titbarach Adonai Eloheinu, al sheva ma'aseh yadecha, ve'al me'orei or she'asita yifa'arucha selah, or hadash al Zion ta'ir v'nizkeh kulanu mehera le'oro. Baruch atah Adonai Yotzer hamarot.
On page 16, we have this prayer, Ahava Rabbah, which is about God's abundant love for us. And it's a model of how we can then share love with others, Talia, because it's about being present. It's about finding ways to engage in Torah. And engaging in Torah doesn't mean just sitting down to study Torah. It's bigger than that. It's about putting those lessons and those values into action. And so together we pray Ahava Rabbah, page 16. Ahava Rabbah Ahavtanu Adonai Eloheinu Chemla Gitola V'Tera Chamalta Aleinu Ba'avur Avotenu V'Imotenu Shabbatchu V'cha V'atlamdem Chukei Chayim Kain Tichonenu Utlamdenu Hamrachem Rachem Aleinu V'tein B'libenu L'havin U'l'haskil Lishmoa, Liomod, Ulelamed, Lishmor, Vila'asot, Ulkayem, et kol divrei Talmud Toratecha be'ahava. Baruch atah Adonai, habocher be'amo Yisrael be'ahava. Page 18, we feel our feet on the floor, perhaps even kind of wiggle our toes to feel extra grounded. We close our eyes or meditate on the words of the page. We declare God's oneness, Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed.
Please be seated. On this same page, on page 18, going on to page 19, we have our Ve'ahavta. And Talia, we just spoke for a second, I spoke for a second about Ahava Rabbah and moving into action to show God's love. And that's also what God is asking us to do in our Ve'ahavta prayer, that it's not enough to just sit and to study Torah. We could do that all day, but we wouldn't really make the world a better place if we just stayed in a room studying all day. And so we're supposed to take those lessons from our Torah, put them into action so that we can go out, and we're thinking of them when we go to bed and when we wake up, but we're also thinking about them when we go out and when we come home. But it's not just thinking, it's doing. And we have these reminders that tell us, have you been thinking about it and have you been doing something about it? And that's our mezuzah. That the little scroll that we put on the doorposts of our house and on our gates, that it's supposed to remind us, not only remind us of our mitzvot, but to go out and do them. And so Ve'ahavta will always be for us that prayer that is a call to action. So we chant together, page 18.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבביך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננת לבניך ודיברת בם ושבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם להיות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
On page 19, as we prepare for our call to freedom of Micha Mocha, I'd like to invite for Neil Weiss and Daniel Silver to come up to our microphone to lead us responsively in that prayer.
Adonai, our God, you took us out of slavery in Egypt. You made us free.
You were free
With which we overcame
40 years of desert wandering.
Even today, you are the hope that, like a beam of light, brightens the darkness of suffering and despair.
You are in the love that creates, protects, and forgives.
Standing at the sea, we felt your goodness and your love, and we sang a new song to you, and still today we sing that song.
We praise you, Adonai, Redeemer of Israel. Thank you. Micha Mocha, our call to freedom, page 20.
So everybody, we're going to bring up our energy level even more because this is the moment where we as a people walked through the sea to freedom. So I'm going to invite you all to do that with me by starting to clap your hands like this. There we go. So you're going to keep it going. Rabbi and Talia and Ryan, you're going to help everybody keep going. And we're going to sing together. Yai, lai, 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 lai. Yai, lai, 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 lai. Yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, 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 lai. Lai, 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 yai, lai, 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 lai. Micha Mocha bar Elim Adonai. Micha Mocha ne'etor HaKodesh. Norah Tehillah, oh Sefer Leh. Norah Tehillah, oh Sefer Leh. Try that with me. Yai, lai, 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 lai. Yai, lai, 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 lai. Yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, 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 lai. Yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, 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 Yai. Sur Yisrael, Kuma Bezrat Yisrael, Ufidechin Umecha, Yehuda Yisrael. Koaleinu Adonai Tsevaot Shemo, Kedosh Yisrael, Baruch Ata Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael.
Amen. On page 21, we rise for our central standing prayer, our Amidah, where we recall generations past, generations yet to be.
Adonai Sefatai Tiftach Ufi Agidei Latecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avoteinu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el HaGadol HaGibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei HaKol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot V'imachot, U'mevi Geula Livnei V'neihem, Lema'an Shemo B'Ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh hakol atah Rav le'Hoshia. Morid hatah, Mechalkel chaim bechesed, Mechayeh hakol berachamim rabim. Somech noflim berofei cholim, umatir asurim, umekayem emunato lishenei afar, nichamocha bal gevurot, umido melach, melech memit umechayem, umatzmiach Yeshua, v'ne'eman atal hachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, v'chayech hakol.
Beautiful. So on page 23, it is my pleasure to call up Daniel and BJ Weiss to lead us in the responsive prayer on page 23.
Many are the ways of holiness, varied are its paths.
There is holiness when we strive to be true to the best we know.
There is holiness when we are kind to others.
There is holiness when we strive for harmony in all of our relationships.
There is holiness when people of different backgrounds work together for a common future.
There is holiness when people seek justice and struggle for righteousness.
There is holiness when people create lasting poetry or song or philosophy.
There is holiness when we forget what divides us and remember what unites us.
Holy, holy, holy is Adonai, our God.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you. We remain standing for Kiddusha, pages 24 and 25.
נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב ביד נביאך, וקרא זה אל זה ואמר, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך הארץ, כבודו, אדיר, אדירנו, אדוני, אדוננו, מדיר Avinu Malkeinu, Umoshienu Vehu Yashmienu, Berachamav Veinei Kol Chai. Ani Adonai Elohechem, Yimloch Adonai le'olam, Elohai Tzion, L'dor v'dor. Hallelujah. L'dor v'dor.
L'dor v'dor.
L'dor v'dor.
L'dor v'dor.
L'dor v'dor nagid kol lecha. L'dor v'dor.
L'dor v'dor.
L'dor v'dor.
L'dor v'dor.
L'dor v'dor nagid kol lecha. Ulenetzach netzachim kerushatecha nakdish, kerushatecha nakdish. V'shivchacha Eloheinu, v'vinu lo yamush le'olam. And here comes Shabbat. L'dor v'dor.
L'dor v'dor.
L'dor v'dor.
L'dor v'dor.
L'dor v'dor nagid kol lecha. L'dor v'dor.
L'dor v'dor.
L'dor v'dor.
L'dor v'dor.
L'dor v'dor nagid kol lecha. Ki ha-melech gadol, gadol v'kadosh, gadol v'kadosh ata. Ki ha-melech gadol, gadol v'kadosh, gadol v'kadosh ata. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh.
On page 25, in the middle there, we have Talia leading us responsively in our prayer.
From of old, the Jewish people have seen Shabbat as a unique gift, a token of its covenant with God.
Shabbat is the most cherished creation of the Jewish spirit. It mirrors the essence of the Jewish soul.
Shabbat has never been merely a day of rest from labor. It has always been a break in the routine of everyday life.
Shabbat is a symbol of liberation and triumph, of the holy over the profane, of spirit over matter.
In every age, Shabbat afforded the Jew a sacred retreat, a haven of safety, a fountain of new strength and perpetual renewal.
Shabbat nurtures family life in love and harmony. A home at peace welcomes Shabbat with joy.
Shabbat is a part of nature's design, the very purpose of creation. All that was created attained its fulfillment in Shabbat.
Shabbat is our hope, the calm haven where all the weary find rest. With the coming of Shabbat, redemption and peace enter the world. Yismechu, our prayer for Shabbat, page 26. Oh, please be seated.
Yismechu v'malchutecha, shomerei, 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 Shabbat v'koreh, bonei Shabbat. Yismechu v'malchutecha, shomerei, 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 Shabbat v'koreh, bonei Shabbat. Mekadesheh, mekadesheh shvi Shabbat. Kulam yisehu, v'yitangу b'tuvecha Shabbat. Yismechu v'malchutecha, shomerei, 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 Shabbat v'koreh, bonei Shabbat. Yismechu v'malchutecha, shomerei, 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 Shabbat v'koreh, bonei Shabbat. Uvashvi ratzita bo v'kidashu Shabbat, chemdan yamim, u'tokarata Shabbat. Yismechu v'malchutecha, shomerei, 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 Shabbat v'koreh, bonei Shabbat. Yismechu v'malchutecha, shomerei, 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 Shabbat v'koreh, bonei Shabbat. Zecher, 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 l'ma'aseh v'reshit Shabbat. Zecher l'ma'aseh v'reshit Shabbat.
pages 27 and 28, we have some responsive prayers that we can join in with together. And to lead those prayers, I'd like to invite forward Bob and Linda Edwards to come on up. You guys will be leading us in the prayer on page 27. And for Beth Weiss and Mark Silver to come on up as you will do our prayer on page 28.
Our world is full of wonders and
Even closer. Just even closer. There you go.
Our world is full of wonders and miracles, but all it takes is one little hand placed before our eyes, and we see nothing.
But miracles are all around us and within us. We are each walking miracles.
When we are bruised, what miracle heals us? When we see beauty, what miracle elevates us? When we hear music, what miracle moves us?
When we see suffering, what miracle saddens us? When we give and receive love, what miracle warms us? When we pray, what miracle renews us?
Every springtime is a miracle. Every snowflake is a miracle. The thoughts we think, the words we speak, the hopes we cherish, each is a miracle.
For all these miracles, may your name be exalted and blessed forever and ever. Yep.
Our God, we know there is no greater gift than peace. Help us to find the peace that comes from the love of your Torah.
Inspire us to banish hatred, war, bloodshed, and bigotry. Help us to establish forever one human family doing your will in love and peace.
Help us to find peace in ourselves and among all people. O God of peace, bless us with peace.
You have given us the power, O God, to bring peace and justice into the world. May we always love peace and pursue it, and love our fellow creatures. Fill us with kindness, wisdom, and love. Then shall we learn to live in peace. Blessed is God, teacher of peace. Thank you. Our prayer for peace, Sim Shalom, page 28.
Sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, tova uveracha, sim, shalom, sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, tova uveracha. Ya la 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 la, ya la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la, ya la la la. Sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, tova uveracha.
We take a few moments for silent prayer and meditation, whether the words on the continuing pages or the prayers of your heart.
These words on page 30. May the words of my mouth and meditations of my heart be acceptable to you, Adonai, my rock and my redeemer. Adonai Tzuri Begoali. Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri Begoali. Yehu liratzon imrefi Begoali. Lefanecha, that repeats. Yehu liratzon imrefi Begoali. Lefanecha, Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri Begoali. Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri, Adonai Tzuri Begoali.
On page 31, Jill and Ian, if you guys will come on up to offer your first parent blessing.
May you live to see your world fulfilled. May your destiny be for worlds still to come. And may you trust in generations past and yet to be.
May your heart be filled with intuition and your words be filled with insight. May songs of praise ever be upon your tongue and your vision be on a straight path before you.
May your eyes shine with the light of holy words and your face reflect the brightness of the heavens. May your lips ever speak wisdom and your fulfillment be in righteousness.
A Jewish home opens its heart and its link to the generations is proclaimed. Today our child, nearly grown, is called to read from the Torah and is welcomed into the congregation.
May this moment be blessed.
Amen.
Amen. So you guys are going to stay up here, and here comes a bunch of moving logistical parts. So our Torah service, which is what we've been leading up to in these moments, is going to be found on page 32. And so I'm going to call out a bunch of people. I'll tell you where to stand, and I'll walk us through it all. So for opening our ark, Ryan, if you'll come back up, and Sydney, as well as Catherine Hoffman, if you guys will head to our ark, because you will be our ark openers. If Allison Silver and John Strauss, as well as Ben and then Lily Strauss, if you could come on forward and you will stand near the cantor for our undressing of the Torah scroll. Oh, my ark openers, you guys can head towards the ark and you'll stand right there. I'll tell you when to open it. And then if I could have our grandparents, if you guys could come on over. So that's Mark Silver and Beth Weiss, Bob and Linda Edwards. If you guys could come on up, or we are undressers of the Torah, you'll head and stand right by our cantor. Perfect. And grandparents, as you guys make your way up, you guys will stand diagonally right here. Beautiful. Is that everybody? That's everybody. If the congregation will please rise, we are once again on page 32, beginning with Ein Kamocha at the top.
Ein kamocha v'Elohim Adonai, ve'en k'ma'asecha, malchutecha malchut kol amim, u'memshaltecha b'chol dor v'dor. Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed, Adonai oz le'amo yitin, Adonai varech et amo v'shalom, Avarachim hitiv v'irtzonecha et Zion, tivnei chomot Yerushalayim, tivnei chomot Yerushalayim.
right, Edward's family. Here's what I need you guys to do. So, Mom and Dad, get at an angle so we can see grandparents past your shoulders. Talia, come stand right here. Good direction following. All right, Talia, wave at everybody. Everybody wave at Talia. There's a lot of people who love you here today, okay? And what I'm holding is pretty important. It is our people's history. It is the sacred stories of the Jewish people. And you could not be standing with us today if a lot of people didn't exist before you, so that you would have the chance to stand before us and to read from, not this scroll, that scroll, but to read from the scroll and to engage with this tradition. And so you're here today not just because of your parents. Look, you can look at them. Not just because of grandparents, but if you look over grandparents' shoulders, you see great-grandparents, right? Over their shoulders, great-great-grandparents, great-greats, all the way around the synagogue. Everybody existing so that you could be here today. And so we have this chance to pass our Torah from generation to generation, just with a little hug and a kiss there. Perfect. 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 And who's passing? Looks like your arms are free. You pass. You practiced, okay. But Dad, you're here all the time, so you got to give it a hug and a kiss too. And so I'm going to pass to you, Jill, so that you can pass on this tradition to Talia. So Talia, come on over. And I'm here to help. All right, and hold like a baseball, softball bat. So take this hand. Thumb around. Got a good grip? Yes. All right, Cantor.
All righty, we are on the top of page 33. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo. Everybody turn and face the ark. Gadol Adonai iti, Uneromima Shemo Yachdav. Torah undressers, come on over by me. Lecha Adonai Hagedula, V'Hagevura, V'Hatiferet, V'Hanetzach, V'Hahod. Ki hu b'shamayim u'va'aretz, Ki hu b'shamayim u'va'aretz. Lecha Adonai Hamilacha v'hamid na'aseh l'chol rosh. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'yishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'yishtachavu lehar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu yai ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu yai lai yai Yai lai 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 lai, yai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai lai. Yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 Yai la 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 la.
Please be seated. Oh, I turned it off. And so, friends, if you would like to follow along in our Torah reading this morning, we have the honor to hear part of the Holiness Code chanted by Talia this morning. And so that can be found. We're creative people here. So you'll see 2 blue books under your chairs. One says Torah. That's the right one. If you pick the other blue book that doesn't say Torah, put it back. You want the one that says Torah. And in that big book, you're going to be on page 894 and 895. If you're going to follow along, that's where you'll be. And if you'd like the Torah blessings, those can be found on page 34. And while Talia is going to teach us more about our Torah portion in a little bit, just briefly, that these are all of the things that make our community holy, the rules that God tried to put forth to say this is what will keep us together and this is what will keep us a sacred community.
For the honor of our first Aliyah, we call up cousin Ella Wilkerson. Ya'am ta'amod Eliana Sarah bat Chanamicha la Aliyah la Torah.
Okay.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bahar banu mikol hamim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Hotivnu el ha'elilim velohei maseha lo te'asu lahem ani Adonai Eloheihem vehi tizbehu seva shalamim l'Adonai la'etznochem tizbehu Beyom sebachem yachel umimaharat sebacharat ad yom hashlishi ba'esh yisaref.
Yasher koach.
You say
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'hayei olam nata b'tohenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Big hugs.
Oh, hold on. Hugs.
Yep.
And then you're going to stand right next to our camp.
And for the honor of our second Aliyah, we call very proud Mom and Dad, Jill and Ian, up to the bima. Ya'amdu Yonamo kabat Elimelech uberta la Aliyah la Torah.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Oh yeah. All right, whenever you're ready.
Amen. Ve'im ha'achol yahel biyom hashlishi piguhu lo yiratzem ve'ochelov avono yisav ki et kodesh Adonai hillel v'nichreta hanefesh Eketzir tehem lo yehale pe'at sadaha liksor vela keketzir halo telake.
Yasher Koach. Awesome.
Thank you.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam neta b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Big hugs.
All right, Mom and Dad, you're going to hang out right up here. And Talia already
she's
knows
already,
where
she's
to
already
go.
heading off.
Ugh, I love it. So Talia, this is that moment where you are about to experience and also give us something that is called an aliyat hanefesh, an ascension, a going up of the soul. What does that all mean? What it really means, my dear, is that you are literally rising into becoming a bat mitzvah. As you come up to chant your blessings in a moment and chant your Torah portion and then complete the blessings, all of that, that's the moment where you officially become a bat mitzvah. But here's the awesome thing, is that you are not just a bat mitzvah for this one moment in time. You are now becoming a bat mitzvah forever, for the rest of your whole life. And how awesome is that? Because what that means is you're saying to all of us, and I see it with your smile and the joy that is so present on your face, is that you are ready to become an active participant in your Jewish community. And not only your Jewish community, but your school community, and your friends, and your family community. And that you are going deeper into your connection to Torah, to Israel, our peoplehood, our religion, and to God. And in doing so, Talia, you also give us that elevation, that deeper connection. So it's my honor to call you up now as an official bat mitzvah. Tamud ha-bachura bat mitzvah ita bat yonamolka la'aliyah Torah.
All right, before you do it, though. Oops, over here. Oh, hold on. I want to make sure you're mic'd. Yeah. Boop.
Baruch et Adonai Havara.
Baruch Adonai Havarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Havarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bahar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Ve'charmecha lo te'oleo u'ferchamecha lo telakei le'ani ve'lager ta'azov otam ani Adonai Elohehem ve'lo techachashu ve'lo tishakeu ish ba'amito ve'lo tishaveu ish mi hashaker ve'hilata et shem Elohecha ani Adonai.
All right. Ooh.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Your eyes tell me, yes, you did do it. You just did it. Wonderful, wonderful. And so, Talia, with our Torah in our, there it is, in our midst, and mom and dad with us too, so mom and dad on either side. Talia, I have this chance to offer to you a special Misha Berach for your continued spiritual growth, that you continue to be this amazing, amazing young woman that we know you to be. Misha Berach avotinu v'imotenu, Avraham, Yitzchak, v'Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, v'Leah, hu yivarech et, Ita bat Yona Malka, shehigia lemitzvot v'alta laTorah, HaKadosh Baruch Hu yishmereha v'chayeha, v'chonen et libah, l'hiyot shalem im Adonai Eloheha, la'agot b'torato, la'lechet b'drachav, v'lishmor mitzvotav, v'timsa chen v'sechel tov, Be'enei Elohim ve'adam v'nomar Amen. Which means, may God, who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless you, Talia, because you have come for an aliyah upon the age of mitzvot. May the Holy One guard you and sustain you, helping you to be wholehearted in your faith, studying God's Torah, walking in God's ways, and fulfilling God's mitzvot. May you find favor before God and all people. And let us say, Amen. Amen. All right, friends. So at this time, I'm going to ask that we turn to page 36. And if Douglas Silver and Ryan will come on up to help us with the dressing of the Torah, I am going to lift it. I practiced. Oh, yeah. Female power. Okay, I'm going to lift it for everybody to see. And so if you guys will come on over here, and we're going to dress it here. I'm going to lift, turn, return,
great.
and dress.
Okay, then
So we need our
cover.
Our
Can
cover.
One of you get.
Ryan, you got it. Gentle, gentle. Yep, Come on down. If the congregation will please rise.
Okay, guys.
All right, so I need a little room to turn so I don't whack you.
Come this way. Yeah, that way.
Whoop.
Careful.
Good catch. All right.
וזאת התורה ששם משה לפני בני ישראל, על פי אדוני ויד משה. יאללה לי 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 לי, יאללה לי 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 לי. Let's sing that one more time. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la.
You may be seated. Whenever you are ready. Here, let's move this so it doesn't.
Okay. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
I hope you are having an amazing Saturday, and thank you all for coming. My Torah portion is called Kiddushim from the book of Leviticus. God speaks to Moses, saying, "Speak to the whole Israelite community and say to them, 'You shall be holy, for I, your God, Adonai, am holy.'" The Torah portion, Kiddushim, is about how we should not be greedy and give back to the poor. My portion also talks about being kin to everyone and treating people the way you want to be treated. In my portion, it explains it wants us to help people and teach them how to help themselves, as well as to help ourselves and how to help others too. You shall not pick from the vineyard bare, or gather the fallen fruit of your vineyard. You shall leave them for the poor and the stranger. I, Adonai, am your God. I chose this quote from the Torah because it says that you could take the fruit from the tree that you grew, but once it falls on to the ground, the fruit no longer belongs to you, but to the poor people around you. My portion tells us to be careful of what we say, because if we get revenge on somebody and make them feel bad, it's only going to make us feel worse about ourselves. When we are the ones hurting somebody else, the Torah portion helps with our everyday lives by telling us how to be a good person, and the portion teaches everyone that reads it how to be a better person and to not do bad. An example is that if somebody wanted to lose weight, and then you could help them by being encouraging and help them exercise and help them not give up. Another example is if somebody wanted to learn how to cook, you could give them tips and advice to help them with what they do not understand. This is like the letter of Tzedakah, Rabbi Maimonides created almost 1,000 years ago. There are 8 levels, and the reason that one number is higher than another has to do with if somebody has to ask or give it to them unwillingly, it would be embarrassing. But if you don't give it to them as a gift, anonymously, then you don't have to go through the embarrassment. I think my Torah portion is the second rung of tzedakah because my Torah portion encourages anonymous giving. When you leave food for somebody to pick up or eat, they don't have to go through the embarrassment of asking for food. Here are some ways you can give tzedakah without embarrassing someone. For example, if someone is homeless and they leave their area, you can leave food, water, or even something to sleep with or on. Or if you know any drop boxes where you can leave food or clothing and even books, that is another anonymous way to help someone out. Now for some special remarks about some special people. To start off about my dad, it's tough love. I love his great sense of humor and how he has a different tone of voice for everyone. Just the other day, he did not want to take a COVID test, and he says, I already took the awesome test and passed with flying colors. And I said, well, I guess you need to go take a retest. It's always jokes until it's time to do stuff, then it's work, work, work. He always loves to spot out cool cars when we drive places and tell me and my siblings what they are about. We even created a new game by getting points for calling out Teslas. This is why I can handle some of the crazy things my dad throws at us in a loving way. Now, my mom is a whole different story. She always bugs me about my orchestra grade, but she wants me to focus on school, which isn't that expected from a mom, though. I love how she can handle working long overnights in a row just to spend time with me on my special day. My mom is caring and always looks after me and my siblings. She tries her best to help us with what we are passionate about. These are some of the reasons I love my mom. I want to also thank my brother and sister for being there for me when always asking me to laugh, always making me laugh and caring about me. I also want to give a special thanks to Joanne and Rabbi Max and Rachel for helping me on my journey to my bat mitzvah. And a special thanks to my extra tutor, Judy, for helping me study and making it fun, and for always believing in me. Shabbat Shalom.
Oh, beautiful words of Torah and a beautiful lesson for all of us to hold with us as we go through our Shabbat. So friends, we have now had the chance to hear Talia chant from Torah. Not an easy task, by the way. If you've never looked inside of a Torah, there's no vowels, there's no pretty colors. It is a lot of hard work, and you have chanted for us absolutely beautifully. And then not only did she have to learn how to chant her particular portion, she also had to study it and decide what it was talking about and what it had to teach us. And so, Talia, you have once again done that with beautiful grace as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And so now it is time in our service to return the Torah to its ark. And so to help us with that and in opening the ark, man, Ryan, you are a professional ark opener today. If you'd like to come on up, and if Stacy Breyer, if you would please join us up here as well. The congregation, we are on page 39. And as she makes her way up, I'll ask that you please rise.
Etz Chaim hi, lama chazikim ba. Tivenu Adonai Elecha v'nashuva Chadesh, Chadesh Yomeinu Chadesh Yomeinu Kekedem.
And close the ark. Awesome, thank you. You may be seated. You may be seated unless your name is Talia. Then you need to come stand right there. Hey, Talia. Hi. Pretty big day. Yes. And Talia, it's been really an honor to work with you for this past year. I know times I had to be a tough cookie, times you had to be a tough cookie, and it was amazing to really watch you grow in it. I know it didn't come easy, and that you are a busy, busy girl, young lady, and you were balancing being the lead, right? The lead in your school play, coming to school on Sundays here, going to regular school, all of the homework, a global pandemic. You had a few things going on in this process. And what I most appreciated throughout all of it was the honesty that you showed, the goofiness and the smiles that you gave me each time, that I will hold on to those dearly. And what has been the most special thing about watching you grow into this young lady is the chance to not only see the amazing caring nature that you have for your siblings, Daenu, that would be enough, but to see how you treat really anybody that you encounter, that you have just this deep, kind soul and this little spark of happiness that lives on your face that brings happiness to others. And that you're always that kid that young lady who is ready to reach out to somebody. And if you're ever at a youth event and I see somebody who's new, who doesn't really know anybody, and they're kind of looking around, and I say, hey, Talia, can you go say hi? Like, can you invite that person to go sit with you? You're like, of course, yes. And in 2022, it's not every teenager that's going to be like, sure, Rabbi, no problem. Because it's a little scary. Like, you have to put yourself out there to even greet that person who is worried about putting themselves out there. But when you do that, you lift up our community. You create that sacred community I've been talking about throughout our service, that we can't have that without Talia here. And so my prayer is that you continue to show up in the amazing ways that you have showed up all of these years, and that you take that love that you have for kids and you bring it with you in years to come as you become a teacher of other kids in our community as well.
Talia, I've been so excited and waiting for, and like waiting impatiently for this day. I am just beaming with pride for you. I feel so privileged because I got to watch you grow from small to this amazing, beautiful, inside and out young woman that is standing before all of us today. And you and I got to share lots of years of music together. And you exude what I like to say, there's this phrase that comes from Talmud. Rabbi will correct me if I'm wrong. May your eyes shine with the light of Torah, of holy words. Am I right? No? I should, okay. Either way, what I see in you is that light. You're already there. And that sense of holiness comes through you, through your whole being. And so it's no surprise that your Torah portion today is Kedoshim. It's our holiness code. And I always say that everybody receives the Torah portion that is meant for them because there is a connection in some way. And it is so clear that you really strive to live that code and we see it shining through you. So my blessing for you is that you continue to let that light of Torah shine through you, to let that spark of holiness shine through you. And I cannot wait to see what the years will bring.
Amen, amen. Okay, we don't normally do this, but you reminded me of the one thing I forgot to say.
Oh, yeah.
Which was that in the embodiment of Torah and her Torah portion, now, your mom has an organization called Hearts of Hunger, right? Hearts Against, that would make more sense. Hearts Against Hunger. And in your Torah portion, it talks about leaving the corners of the field. And you spoke beautifully about what it means to find ways for anonymous giving and those sorts of things, which is what leaving the corners of the fields is all about, and the chance to offer and provide food for people in need. And it's being modeled in your family, and it's being modeled by you in the Torah that you teach. And so to echo what Cantor has said, keep bringing us that Torah, that this portion was meant to be yours, and so it's your task to continue to elevate it for us. Thank you.
We're going to give you a blessing. Oh,
and the hugs.
And
I love that. Okay, slightly further apart, though. There you go.
This blessing, Talia, has been passed down from Torah for thousands of years. Yivarechuka Adonai ve'yishmerecha.
May God bless you and keep you.
Yair Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka.
May the light of God shine upon you and be gracious to you.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha ve'yasem lecha shalom.
Talia, everywhere you go, every step you take, may you feel strength beneath your feet. May you stand tall with pride. And may you know God's most important gift, the gift of peace. Together we say,
Amen.
All right, we'll head back down to the Amudim. And it's my honor to invite forward your parents to share a few words with you about all of the wonderful things they see in you.
All right. So I didn't exactly prepare a speech. I'm more of a get up here and wing it kind of person. And I will tell you, I'm a lot better at talking than I am reading Hebrew. So you guys have that to look forward to. I guess probably the one thing that I wanted to say that kind of came through this morning, we struggled through this whole process. Yes. And a huge shout out goes to Judy for helping me out and helping us out. But to watch you up here after everything we went through and you know, the talks about how difficult it was and the issues you were having with it, you got up here and killed it. So, you know, you're capable of doing whatever you put your mind to, and that goes with Hebrew, that goes with school, that goes with swimming, all of the above. So that was kind of the big thing I wanted to kind of just point out, is that you can do whatever you put your mind to. You just need to do it.
Yep.
Before Mom starts crying.
Beautiful. I love all of that. Oh, Mom has started. If you need it, there's tissues. So, friends, we are going to begin to conclude our service. My master ark opener, if you will, come back on up. Did Sydney went and took a break? Is she in here? Okay. So we're going to be on page 40. If the congregation will please rise, and if the family will go to open the ark.
Alinu l'shabeach la'adon ha'kol, la'tid gidula le'otzer bereshit, shelo asanu kegoye ha'aratzot, velo samanu kemishpechot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, vegor alenu kechol hamonam, va'anachnu korim, umishtachavim umodim, lifnei melech, Melchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, V'nemar, V'haya Adonai, L'melech al kol haaretz, Bayom hahu, Yeh Adonai echad, U'shemo, U'shemo echad.
Please be seated. All right, friends. So we've reached the point in our service where we call to mind the memories of loved ones who have died in recent days and those who have died in seasons past. And we imagine them at their very best. Imagine them in these sacred moments that they are truly present with us and smiling upon us. And so I know the family is thinking of Alan and Gloria Weiss, Louis and Yetta Silver, Catherine and Gerald Baylor, Mary Jane and Herbert Edwards. If you are in a period of shloshim, the first 30 days mourning the loss of a loved one, we invite you to please rise so that we can recognize you. If you are in the first year mourning the loss of a loved one, we invite you to rise so we may recognize you. If on this Shabbat you are observing a yahrzeit, a death anniversary of a loved one, we invite you to rise so we may recognize you. And if it is your custom to rise for Mourner's Kaddish, as it is here at Temple Emanu-El, we invite you to do so now. The words for this prayer can be found on page 41. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divrach yiruteh v'yamlich malchuteh, b'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam u'amei omaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. Vit adar, vit ale, vit halal, shemei d'kudesha barichu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Osei shalom b'mromav, hu ya'asei shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen.
Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru, amen. Ya'aseh shalom, shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael.
On page 42, I'll invite our family, you guys to head right on over to our Kiddush, as we prepare to sanctify our Shabbat in this way. And if you are seated, I invite you to please rise. We're on page 42.
All righty, Miss Talia, pick up the Kiddush cup. And Mom and Dad and Ryan, you can have some Kiddush as well. And we say together, Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Amen. Chai, take a drink.
And with our challah, Ryan, if you'll pull the cover off of the challah as we say, voila, voila, challah.
I taught that to Lavender.
Good. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Amen. Siman tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, siman tov, siman tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, siman tov, siman tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, siman tov. Yehei lanu, yehei lanu, yehei lanu, ubechol Yisrael. Yehei lanu, ubechol Yisrael. Yehei lanu, ubechol Yisrael. Yehei lanu, ubechol
Israel, Mazel Tov. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. That concludes our service. And the family will invite you to join them in the social hall, which you can get to out that door and around.